So here we go. We're going to get right down to business because we have quite a few candidates here today. This panel is the 21st Ward, like I said. So please give your written questions to the student pages that are collecting cards throughout the audience. Audience questions will be alternated with community-prepared questions as time permits. Now, these here are the candidate guidelines. Timekeepers will be present, will be seated right here in the front row here as the moderator will assist with the timekeeping. Candidate seating will be at random and upon arrival. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for opening and 1 minute, 30 seconds to answer each question. Each candidate will be given an opportunity to answer a question first. The first question will be in the prescribed order. All subsequent questions will be directed to the next candidate on the right or the left, depending on the stage seating. If time permits, there will be a 2-minute closing for each candidate. We thank you for attending our candidates forum. We hope you will have gained additional information that will assist your voting selection. We invite you to also stop at the tables located at the entrance for candidates in community literature. And at this time, I want to introduce our panelists as well. We have Reverend Jackie Lewis from SEIU Cal. We have Reverend Lewis is right to my left here. And then we have Maria Hatton, Participatory Budget Organization, right? You got it. And Ms. B. Jasper, Resident Matter, and TIF representative from 67th Street, you said, right? So let's give these young ladies a hand. Okay. So now with us today, we get right down to the business. We have Mr. Jeffrey Baker. He's running for alderman. We have the incumbent alderman, Alderman Howard Brookins Jr. Let's give him a hand. We have Ms. Doris Lewis Brooks, the only female here on the panel right now. We have Ken Lewis, Marvin McNeil, and Joseph C. Ziegler Jr. All right. So what we'll do then, when it comes down to me being the moderator, I have to be very concise on the time and everything because we have quite a few candidates up here, so don't take nothing personal because we're going to stick to the time, okay?
Yes, sir.
So we'll start with Mr. Jeffrey Baker for his introductory statement. 2 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. My name is Jeffrey Baker. I am running for alderman of the 21st Ward because our government does not do what we want it to do. Our government will only do what we make it do. In 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt met with A. Philip Randolph and other labor leaders. The meeting was about integrating the military. At the end of the meeting, the president stated, "I like what you're talking about. That's a very good idea. That's fair. Now go out and make me do it. Go out and make me do it." So A. Philip Randolph went out and organized 100,000 people to have a march on Washington, the first march on Washington. When the president heard about 100,000 people marching on Washington, he signed Executive Order 8802, integrating the military, to stop that. Our Hispanic brothers and sisters have organized their numbers to ensure that they get a DREAM Act. Our gay activists have organized their numbers to make sure that they get gay marriage. And our millionaires and billionaires have organized their dollars to make sure that their banks got trillions of dollars after they destroyed them during the mortgage crisis. We have to organize our numbers to make our government do anything. So if any candidate up here is talking to you about what they will do, the schools they'll open back up, the jobs they'll bring to the community, the crime that they'll stop, ask them how. How do they make the government do what the last 4 aldermen could not do? If they're not talking about organizing numbers to make our government move, then they are not talking about anything. And when they get to the city council floor, they will not be getting anything done. We have to organize our numbers. It's been done before. It can be done again. Thank you. Jeff Baker for 21st Ward Alderman.
Okay. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move all the way down to the end of the table here for our incumbent alderman, Alderman Howard B. Brookins Jr. 2 minutes, Alderman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Alderman Howard Brookins Jr., the 21st Ward, and 12 years ago, I had a campaign slogan: if you punch for me, I will fight for you. And over the past 12 years, we have constantly been fighting, and with your help, we've been winning those battles. With your help, we have had more than 1,000 permanent jobs created in the 21st Ward. With your help, we've created more than 2,000 temporary construction jobs in the 21st Ward. With your help, we went down and we fought for Simeon's electrical program not to be cut out, and we won. With your help, we fought to save Mahalia Jackson, and we won. And now Mahalia Jackson has come to be a specialty school for kids who are deaf and hard of hearing. With your help, Ryder School has become a level 1 school as opposed to being on probation. Now is not time to throw the white towel of surrender in. Don't be fooled by the okie doke. We're fighting for you, we're winning for you, and the work is not done yet.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to go right to the only female on this panel for female candidate right now. Her name is Doris Lewis Brooks. 2 minutes.
Hi, I am Doris Lewis Brooks, and I am your next alderwoman of the 21st Ward. I hate that this is not a debate because I could rebut everything that your alderman has told you. He said he brought in $30,000 in minority jobs. Which minorities? Not us. We're not Subway. We're not Dunkin' Donuts. We're not Wings and Things. I'm here to work for you. I'm not a seasoned politician. I'm like you, and you. I know what I'm sick of, and I know what I want. I know I pay taxes like the people in Beverly. When I go down Beverly, I can shop and buy anything I want. When I come down my street, east on 95th Street, there's nothing there. I got to take my money to other people. I want us to get these jobs. That's why I'm telling you now, when I'm elected, half of my salary. And that means for the first 2 years, you're going to get $100,000 back from me to reinvest in our community. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I have hired these many people. I'm not going to tell you I got a hotel on 83rd and you can't check in it unless you work for Metro. I'm going to tell you straight from the heart. I've lived in this community for over 30 years. I know what this community needs, and I know I got it for you. Punch 55 for Doris Lewis Brooks if you want your money to stay in your ward made by you and people, minorities, us.
All right. Okay. So now we'll go to Mr. Joseph C. Ziegler, Jr.
Well, thank you.
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. My name is Joseph C. Ziegler, Jr., and I am running and intend to be the next alderman of the 21st Ward. Over the last few years, our ward has had to deal with less, and I'm running on a platform of more. We have roughly 37,000 registered voters in our ward, and in any given election, only 12 to 15,000 of them vote. You know me because I've been active in the community. I had a radio show on WVON called The Financial Forum where every week we gave out free financial advice. I'm executive director of an organization called CAN, and we have painted houses for seniors, donated baseballs to our little leagues. We even held candidate forums like this one to familiarize you with those who seek elective office. So my appeal to you that if you want more, punch 54, elect Joseph C. Ziegler, Jr., someone who has already been working for you, alderman of the 21st Ward. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Ziegler has one of them real good radio voices, you know. All right, so we'll go with Ken Lewis now.
But don't get what you need.
I understand. Ken Lewis now.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ken Lewis, candidate for alderman of the 21st Ward. I'm a lifelong resident of the ward. My mother brought me home from the hospital to the 21st Ward. This is the only place I've ever lived. I'm a business owner. I've owned and operated a business in the ward for the past 21 years, where I've employed dozens of young men that most people wouldn't give a chance to. I've seen the ward as a child, as a young adult, and now a grown man, and it is not what I remember. In order for our ward to change and move in the direction it needs to, we must deal with our children. When the weather reaches above 50 degrees, our communities turn into war zones. Our children are afraid to come out, and their parents are afraid to let them out. Our parks are empty, and it is just unacceptable. Like I said, I've been a business owner for 20 years. In the last 10 years, I've had 5 murders within 50 feet of my front door. This past May, my mother had her front window shot out. Sunday evening after church. I'm running for them, for people like that. The people who've lived in the ward, who wanted better and expected to have better, and now we're being held hostage. We must provide opportunities for our children in order for us to have the economic development that we all seek. When our seniors are afraid to shop in the areas where our businesses are located, nothing can develop. In order for us to change that, we must deal with the most prevalent issue we have, and that's what we do with our children, the opportunities we provide for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Marvin McNeil.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marvin McNeil, and I'm seeking your support to become the next alderman of the 21st Ward. I think it's poetic justice that we have, we're meeting here today at Simeon Vocational High School, especially in light of the importance of vocational training. Earlier this summer, I was in here, we had a rally to restore the electrical and the auto mechanic programs. I saw our alderman sitting over in the corner, like a little church mouse, didn't say anything. You know, and it wasn't until the community got up, stood up, and had and put pressure on the mayor to restore the electrical apprenticeship, the electrical program. And he took credit for it. Our alderman got up and said, "I got it back." You know, but we have a lot of other things that's going on in this ward that he's not telling us about. We're tired of hearing about things after it happens. Prospective High School is being relocated on 87th and Dan Ryan. What's going to happen to Calumet? We're gonna have a big dinosaur in our community, and we have not heard anything about this. We need to be informed. We need the public to know what the alderman's office is doing, and I plan on doing that for you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to start off with a question from the audience, and then we'll get right to the panelists here, okay? So remember, you have 1 minute, 30 seconds to answer each question, and I'll start down with the incumbent alderman first, then we'll move down for this question, then we'll start the opposite direction in the next round, okay? So this is a good question. As far as education, what would you propose for the abandoned school buildings? How has your work on the far south side benefited the children? So most important, we know about the school closing, so what would you propose as far as the abandoned school buildings, Alderman Brookins?
Certainly. One, we have one abandoned school building currently in the 21st Ward, which is Garrett Morgan School, which is on Vincennes. It sits in a park. One, we can expand the park, but two, I've always been about jobs and job creation because I believe that the greatest deterrent to crime is having a job. That's been borne out by the statistics from the University of Chicago that those children who've had jobs were less apt to commit a crime. So we've been looking at things like call centers, businesses that we could put there, that we could employ people within the community and put them back to work. And if I have a few seconds, Marvin, if you lived in the ward, you would come to a meeting and you would know what was going on in the 21st Ward.
Ooh. All right. Okay, all right. Okay, good answer. Okay, good enough. All right, we might have some explosives here. We'll be all right. That's good. So next candidate.
If anybody has been to the town hall meeting that the alderman has, you know one thing, we have a very ignorant chief of staff there, very disrespectful. Whoa. I stayed there until, for me not to be belligerent, I left and I said, that's not the place for me.
Those meetings been going on for 10
but
years.
One
10
thing, what he
years, you
should,
came to
what
one.
he should
Let's do this here then. Hold up 1 minute. I'm going to get you your time. Just do this for me. I need everybody to listen to me for 1 second. I'm the moderator, and I'd appreciate if we stick to answering the question.
Yes.
And then if you got some personal issues, you know, this is what I used to do when I grew up in the projects. I take it outside.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, I didn't hear the alderman say anything about what he's planning on doing with Calumet High School.
Right.
You know, and this is to my right is the point guard for the mayor when it comes to school closings for the whole city. You know, so as he closed a perfectly good school in Garrett A. Morgan, and all it is the okie doke. They use school closing as the weapon to break down the Chicago Teachers Union and to bring in charter schools to make that the replacement. You will not see another regular public school in the city of Chicago as long as Rahm Emanuel, his endorsed candidate, stays in that office. You know, so what I like to see is, as alderman, my first thing will be to put regular public school children in those regular public schools. There's nothing wrong with them now, and I plan on opening them back up.
Thank you. That's good. That's what you call staying on message, everybody. That's important, okay? Very important. So we'll go to the next candidate.
My solution to the empty school buildings. I recently contacted Chicago Public Schools Facilities Department and inquired about the Garrett A. Morgan building. No one is pursuing it, and it actually costs about $86,000 to maintain empty. They told me that it is at the alderman's discretion what is to be done with the building. I proposed a job training, bringing a version of possibly Dawson Technical Institute, petitioning the city colleges to bring a campus to the south side. So we can train, we must train our young adults. Our young men 18 to 25 are 92% unemployed. That means only 1 out of 10 have a job. The Simeon program is great, but what about the kids who are not currently in school? What about those who are returning home from prison? If we don't do something about it, it'll be a rotating cycle. They will continue to drag the community down, and they have no way up. We must provide that, and we have the facilities to do that, and that's what I would do with those buildings.
Thank you, thank you. All right, we'll go right there to Doris.
Okay, I'm gonna stick to the question, but I gotta say one thing. I'm gonna borrow this word. Don't fall for the okie doke. Now, this person, one of these people on this panel, was on the committee, and they voted to close these schools because they were underused. Sell the schools then. Sell these buildings that are on prime property, get the money, and put them back into the existing schools. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't believe everything you hear. First jobs go with these schools. They need trade. They need skills. Open up job corps centers. We got a big lot on 83rd right across from Garrett A. Morgan. Open that up as a job center so we can use some of this minority money that's coming in, and these kids can be trained to open one of these franchises. Sell the schools, take the money, put them back in the schools.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, we'll go to Mr. Ziegler.
It is a travesty because I spent a lot of time in Garrett A. Morgan School over the last year and a half that it closed, and it was full of students. And I think that when you ask your kindergartner, your first grader, to walk from 83rd and Kerfoot to Ryder School at 87th and Low in the wintertime, given the winters we have, it's a great travesty that we closed the school down that was full of students. Secondly, to answer the question, what do I plan to do for the school? We can make that school an internet technological hub and bring in construction training for our ex-offenders so that they can be merged into the job market so that we can redevelop some of the vacant homes that we have in the 21st Ward. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Jeffrey.
And I say, how? Where do you get the funds for any of these things that you're talking about? What we have done is created a free CDL permit training program so that we can move young men off of the corners and into jobs. not just any job, but jobs that can sustain an entire family. Jobs, careers that can turn into careers. How can we provide this? Well, we can provide this because it is very inexpensive to train young men to become CDL drivers. I put 3 children through school off of a CDL license, college off of a CDL license. We can also use these buildings as business incubators. We have a lot of talk about jobs, but very little talk about creating entrepreneurs. We can use this as a business incubator. There's organizations and resources that already exist to help walk us through business development. And we can provide the property and the space to do so with these buildings that are empty and available for our usage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Okay, with this, with the next question, we'll start with you, then moving that way, okay? So we're gonna take our first question from the panelists right now.
Many members of the 21st Ward community was able to move into the middle-class neighborhood through union-supported careers. An example, teachers, postmen, police officers, and firemen. We believe that unions continue to play a critical role in our society. The current struggles of unions should be a concern for everyone, especially our government officials. As the alderman of the 21st Ward, how would you ensure your support of unions and collective bargaining to keep the present and younger generation within an economic statute that support middle-class opportunities?
That's a good question. All right, did anybody hear the question?
Very good question.
Good, okay.
Unions are under attack. That means the middle class is under attack. That means all of us are under attack. One of the biggest employers in the city of Chicago of black individuals are unions. So when we're talking about, or when our upper 1% are talking about destroying unions, they're talking about our jobs. Many middle-class black folks, our neighbors. Not only that, they confuse us with the term unions. Unions are making too much money. Unions are demanding too much. What they're really talking about destroying is collective bargaining. The opportunity for you to join with your brothers and sisters at work, your coworkers, and defend yourself against a big corporation that has millions and millions of dollars and wants to treat you badly, cut your pay, fire you for no reason. If you cannot join with your coworkers, you are defenseless against this large corporation. So don't be fooled by the argument that we have to get rid of these unions because these unions are racist. We have to get rid of these unions because these unions are asking for too much. No, these unions have created the ability to work comfortably, a 40-hour work week, and to have a middle class that we have today. We must protect unions. We must protect collective bargaining first and foremost. And we must force the city to do so. And it's only going to happen if we organize our numbers and do it together.
All right, good enough. Appreciate that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Ziegler.
You know, having come out of a union home, my mother was a member of the AFSCME union, and my son is a member of SEIU Local 73. I truly understand the importance of unions and having union labor. I support the unions. I have worked with the Chicago Teachers Union in their fight for an elected school board, and I would like to say to you now, it is a referendum that is on the ballot in February, this month, and please vote for the elected school board. I do support the unions in the city of Chicago.
All right, all right.
I come from a father-in-law that was one of the first African-American union representatives for the SEIU. I worked with him getting a union at the Jay's Potato Chips on 95th Street. I believe that I'm the only one here that has a union bug on my literature. What better way to show support? Also, unions are numbers. We all know power is in numbers. Why wouldn't they try to break the unions? What can we do by ourselves? And so far, nobody's standing up for the unions except for me, because I'm putting my money where my mouth is, giving back again.
All right, appreciate that.
Our unions are the backbone of the community. It actually afforded many of our parents an opportunity to make it and keep a solid job and keep the household together. Right now, we see privatization and outsourcing of jobs and trying to destroy those unions, firing 4,000 teachers. We're closing 50 schools. We see the direction it's headed, and we see what it's doing to our communities. It's the only thing we can do is defend our unions and defend our union workers. And I definitely will do that. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, unlike the rest of the individuals here, I'm not going to entirely drink all the union Kool-Aid, because I know one thing: a lot of our children aren't in unions. And the unions will not use as a reason why they can't employ us, because none of us are in the union. I want them to open up their apprenticeship program so we can get into the plumbers union and the electrical union and the concrete construction industry. I'm with you so long as you're with me. So we're gonna have more employment for contractors in our community. We're gonna have an ethnically based employment situation, so the jobs we do control, the jobs I do control as alderman, we're gonna have the high percentage of those jobs. And if the only way that we can work on them jobs is if you're a union employee, then you're gonna let us in the unions. Now, as it goes to Walmart, this poverty plantation that our alderman has created for us, my first job is gonna be to establish a union at Walmart, because these people need a living wage and not that change they're giving them.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. I supported a living wage, and I supported $15 an hour for the employees. Now, we ended up at 13, but I've been fighting for working families, including the people at Walmart. We negotiated in the project labor agreement that everybody that worked at Walmart would get above the minimum wage. But more importantly, we need to work with our friends in the trade unions. And we need to get them to understand that there is a tug of war going on between the people in the community, like Mark and Paul, those people who are on the outside of the fence trying to get the union jobs and not getting in, so that they have gone over to the dark side and are now pushing for a right-to-work state. We have to get them to understand that we all have to work together so that we can get a fair share of those jobs, so our community is not divided and that we end up with nothing. I have fought for working families with the workers at Unite Here and making sure that the people at Hudson and O'Hare and Midway got the same pay. I fought with and was successful with ASME employees. We've been fighting to make sure that the pensioners who predominantly live in the 21st Ward are able to keep their pension and get subsidies to pay for their health care. We have to continue that fight. That's what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. We have another question from the audience that kind of feeds right into the question we just asked. Then we'll go right to the panelists after this one. So as alderman, we'll start with Alderman Brookins, then we'll come back this way and keep it going. As alderman, would you support Governor Rauner wanting Illinois to have a right-to-work zones? That's something that Governor Rauner just proposed, so we want to know where everybody stands with that. Alderman Brookins.
No, I don't support that. I don't think that it has worked in those other states. It doesn't seem that we have the right to work. That's why I believe that we can be successful if we work with our trade unions and get them to see that they are starting to put us at odds, African Americans with organized labor, and trying to say, well, you guys aren't getting these jobs, so you should go to a right-to-work state, and we still wouldn't get those jobs, and the labor force and the pay would be pushed down. So no, we can't go with that. We have to continue to work within our framework, and I think that we're starting to see some results. We've convened meetings with the congressmen, with state reps, state senators, and aldermen, talking with the trade unions, and I'm so happy, like IBEW 134 has agreed that every kid coming out of the Simeon electrical program would have a spot there. Those are the types of things that we need to continue to do.
Thank you. All right. right, got you. Yeah.
Yes, that was a very great point about the Chicago Electrical Union, the IBEW, because they were here at Simeon promising, hey, if you keep this program here, we promise that everybody you bring through this apprenticeship program will get work, will be in the union. That's a good thing. I didn't hear anything about the alderman. He didn't stand up or speak in behalf of that when the principal was saying that this electrical union program, the electrical apprenticeship program, was going to be closed, and there's nothing y'all can do about it. You know, when it goes in regard to the collective bargaining agreement, I would, as a leader of our community, I'm keeping all my everything that is necessary in order to negotiate an employment for my constituents in my pocket. I want to see my community back to work. And I'm not taking anything off the table when it comes to negotiating employment for my community.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
No, I don't support right to work state, this becoming a right to work state. I truly support our unions. I think the system that we have in place, if the rules were adequate and fair, would work. Right now, we have to reform the way city contracts are given and the penalties and rules for the subjugating of those rules by our largest construction companies. The 30% minority hiring, we have larger companies using pass-through companies to get around these rules. So if we tighten up the rules in the way it relates to city contracts, we will get our people employed. But until then, no matter what we do, our people will not be employed to the level that they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
This one time I have to agree with Marvin. I support whatever negotiating I have to do to keep the jobs in my community. I don't believe that when we see infrastructure being done, it should be done by people of other color. I believe that if my ward is majority African American, then I should have those African Americans, my constituents, to do the work. I don't believe in whether it's a nice thing to say or not. I told you, I'm not a politician. I believe if I am your public servant and you have hired me, I'm not going to tell you to call 311. I'm going to tell you, everybody in this ward that is capable should have a job working here. Why should you go all the way in the loop or somewhere else and you have the skills and the union will hire you to work here? I don't believe in, Marvin said, well, we should ask the union. I'm tired of asking people. Give me what I'm supposed to have. Give me these jobs that we need so badly. People still call me because they couldn't get hired to work on Walmart and that area there. They're union people. They have licenses. Why couldn't they get hired? That is what your alderman does. He makes sure you get what you're supposed to get. And don't fall for the okie doke. We ain't been getting it.
All right. Brother Ziegler.
The short answer is no. I am not in favor of a right to work state. And the longer answer is this year my business just got certified as an MBE business. And the greatest travesty is that a lot of the city contracts have minority business and women business set-asides. But we have to pay $500 and fill out 500 pages of paperwork to be certified so that somebody can tell me that I'm a minority. In spite of my last name, when you look at me, you can tell what my pedigree is. So with that being said, not only must we help the business owners, but we have to help all of the other workers as well, because black business owners hire black people to work.
My man, all right. All right, we're gonna.
I am absolutely not in favor of these work zones. I am in favor of community benefits agreements, meaning if an organization or a corporation wants to come into our community, they have to agree that they will either hire folks from this community or they have to return funds to this community that help to develop this community. And I think my microphone went down. Was I talking too loud?
Yeah, it should be up. There you
Okay.
go. Take that one out.
So I'm in favor of community benefits agreements. I'm in favor of making sure that people in the community on these work sites look like the people from the community. That's first and foremost. But more than that, I'm into the community taking care of itself. I'm into industry ownership and job creation. What does that mean? That means we do what we have seen our sisters and our Asian sisters and brothers do. Start off doing nails, then go from doing nails to owning the nail shop and the wig shop, then from owning the nail and wig shop to buying several other nail and wig shops, putting their family members to work, hiring their own children, hiring their own wives, hiring their own cousins, collectively investing so that they can own their own community. Now they are economically independent and politically powerful. That is what I am for. That is what we will create. And that's how we'll get things done, together, organized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, all right. So now we're going to take another question from the panelists, and we'll start with Jeffrey moving on down in the next direction.
All right. Can everyone hear me through the mic?
So just
All right.
a
little louder. So this question, candidates, is about participatory budgeting. Participatory budgeting is an innovative process used to efficiently and democratically budget dollars for public needs. This process of community members deciding how to use their own dollars is successful all over the world, in over 1,500 cities, including in Brazil and New York. In Chicago, aldermen and alderwomen are setting an example by implementing their discretionary funds through participatory budgeting. People who live, work, and attend school in these districts come together and decide how to allocate $1 million of discretionary funds. What do you think about community members in your district coming together to improve the community through participatory budgeting? If you're elected, will you use participatory budgeting to allocate your $1 million of discretionary funds?
That is, the menu, I believe, is 1.3 million. And yes, I am in favor of participatory budgeting. I am in favor of participatory educational decisions. I am in favor of participatory police oversight. I am in favor of all of those things that are extremely important to the everyday lives of the community members. Having the community members be participants in those decisions, hand-on, direct, so that when we say we don't want 50 schools closed, 50 schools don't close if we are participating in the decision-making process. When we say we don't want parking meters sold, they don't get sold. When we say we don't want red light cameras, they don't exist. They disappear. That is participatory. I'm in favor of participatory government in every way, shape, form, and fashion. So yes, I am in favor of the community that these funds are meant for being a part of determining where they are spent. That will be the TIF dollars and the special service area dollars as well. Thank you.
I am in favor of participatory budgeting, but what we must understand in our community, in order to have a participatory budget, the foundation is based on having strong block clubs, strong community organizations. And only through having strong block clubs and strong community organizations can we then enact a participatory budgeting process. So let's not get it twisted. We must first come together as a community and rebuild our block club structure so that we can then institute a participatory budget process.
Yes, I am for it, but I gotta tell you, before I knew the official name for it, if you've been to any of my meetings all summer, I have been telling you, we need to take back our community. One way to do it is control your money. Ladies, you know, whoever controls the money runs the house. So if building greater block clubs makes us able to get to that point, I think all these things will work together. It'll make us get back our trust that we used to have in our government. Yes, I'm all for it. We know what our community needs better than anybody. So if we are planning our budgets, we're deciding what we need, when we need to get it, let's do that. And if it makes us stronger in the process, that's a good thing too, because I think everything works to a point. You need the background to get to the conclusion, but sometimes if you know the conclusion you're working for, it makes the background movement go faster. Yes, I'm for it.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm for participatory budgeting. Right now, our ward is a group of fractured communities. We have a lot of organizations, a lot of community groups, a lot of faith-based organizations doing a lot of work in a lot of different parts of the ward. We have to combine those organizations. We have to have those organizations working together so we can identify the needs of particular communities. Every community has a different focus, a different need, and we need to combine those so we can have a participatory budgeting process. So I am for it, and it's just a matter of bringing our communities together. Thank you.
The menu process for the wards that with the funds being allocated to them for our individual projects has to be overhauled. It is geographically discriminatory. Let me tell you what I mean. For the residents who live in the 21st Ward, we have a huge ward, one of the largest in the city. It is not fair that our ward receives the same amount of dollars as one of those highly concentrated wards on the north side, where it might be 8 blocks square. So they get to repave their blocks, their sidewalks, once every 5 years, where we still have sidewalks that are still under the WPA. We have streets that a lot of people don't even know what the heck WPA is. It's been so long. We have sidewalks, we have curbs that have not been repaved since, and it's not all his fault in this instance because we haven't had the dollars. So first thing we have to do is do that, and I plan on doing that with the having an annual ward convention where every block, a representative of every block will show up and tell us what's wrong with your block, what's your priority, and we will have a computerized listing so you will not have to wonder what happened to my project. You said it was on the list, I looked again and it's not there. I'm gonna have that for the residents of the 21st Ward.
Thank you. All right, Alderman Brookins.
No, I'm not a fan of participatory budgeting. And I believe that you cannot rule or govern by plebiscite. There's a silent majority of people out there. There are people, unfortunately, who cannot come to town hall meetings or conventions, etc. But their streets need to be paved. Their curbs need to be fixed. Their sidewalks need to be fixed. And if you've lived in one of those areas, and maybe you only have 2 or 3 people on the block, it shouldn't be left up to some majority to say that you should not get a city service. We need to systematically look at those things, fix them in terms of need, and spread it out throughout the community, and not just have a few people who come to meeting after meeting after meeting, and you know who those people are. They come to every meeting to vote on you whether or not you could have some good or some services that the city is willing to offer. So no, that is why you have a representative democracy and a person that you have faith in or you put in the trust to go in and make fair decisions for the entire community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So looking at the time, we're going to carry this particular panel up until 4:15 because we have the other candidates that are here for the next panel, okay? Because we started about 10 minutes off schedule here. So we'll just get right down to the point again. A question from the audience. This is a good question. We'll start with Alderman Brookins here and work ourselves back down. As Alderman in the 21st Ward, what are the greatest challenges in this ward, and what makes you the best candidate to address these challenges, Alderman Brookins?
The greatest challenges in this ward in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, county of Cook, United States of America, for the people who live here and the people who I primarily represent are jobs. It's been that way from day one that I took office. When I took office back in the real estate boom in 2003, unemployment for black people was at 16%. Today, unemployment for African American males in this state is at 50%. People say, well, why are you continuously fighting for jobs? And I know somebody dismissed, those jobs at Walmart, but we had a unemployment problem which was greater than our underemployment problem. And we have to continue to fight and get jobs and opportunities within our community. And then we can also fight at the same time, like I did with increasing the minimum wage, we can also fight for unionizing, get better wages and working conditions, but we have to bring those jobs within our community so that we can all work, so all of our communities can be safe.
Thank you, Alderman. Yes, indeed. All right, next.
Yes, I believe in addition to jobs, a living wage, fair employment, so we can get these people off the street. So they have to go come in at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night because they have to get up in the morning. And it's not an option where I'm not coming in to not tomorrow because I already know I'm gonna make it $35. You know, a real solid handling your family type of a job. In addition to that is the crime. And we have to engage ourselves with the community policing situation in our ward, and that has to be overhauled. The police have to come halfway with us. I want to see policemen in our wards on bicycles like I see on the north side. I want to see the policemen in the ward walking like I see them walking downtown. If it's okay down there in the wintertime, it should be okay over here in Auburn Gresham. We need them. I was shocked and surprised at the amount of shootings that is going on in Brainerd. So who can't be nobody but Pookie and Ray Ray? Because, you know, there's nothing out there but bungalows. But it's the understanding, and half the reason why these people are getting away with the crimes is because they have no trust in the police. Because if you tell the police what's happening.
Okay, that's a wrap. You
Okay.
got it. I have to stick to the schedule. Like I say, nothing personal.
Part to be continued.
To be continued. That's good. All right.
I said in the opening that the most prevailing issue in our ward is the crime. Unemployment breeds crime. We have many vacant retail places that are not being used. We have very few owners of those businesses that live in the community. I spoke with a woman the other day. She lives in the 21st Ward, and she has a business, but her business is located a couple of blocks outside the ward in the 19th Ward. I asked her, well, why didn't you open this in the 21st? She said that people wouldn't come in the 21st Ward and shop. This is a resident, someone who lives there. So if we don't deal with our kids and the crime, and these are our children, Pookie and Ray Ray are our children and our grandchildren. They need an opportunity, they need job training, and they need employment that will come from within. We cannot wait for a franchise to open up to hire them because a lot of them are not prepared to work. We have jobs available right in our communities. Right now we have lawn services that are not being performed by us. Those are jobs that our 16 and 18-year-olds can do and will do. We have a lot of home rehabs that need to be done. Our kids need to be trained to do this work. It pains me when I watch other people from other communities come into our neighborhoods and make a living, and our kids are standing around on the corner, 10 of them, with nothing to do. Thank you.
In the 21st Ward, our problems are education, our problems are jobs, our problems are businesses, and our problems are youth. And all those problems intertwine with each other. If we have kids that have jobs, they don't have time to commit the crimes. We need to open up some of these churches. We need to incorporate them. They're supposed to be for the community. Incorporate them to have our kids come there, learn trades, learn to respect themselves. If we get these time signs thrown me, y'all, but all of these things are interconnected. If we solve one, we're solving the other ones. We just have to make sure we address these issues, and as we address the issues, then they'll solve themselves. You get kids jobs, you get them education, the education will make them able to get jobs. We're not waiting for franchises to come in. We want to create the franchises that are here.
Okay, thank you so much. We're good? We're good? All right.
The number one issue in the 21st Ward is crime. The challenge that we have is we're split between two districts, the 22nd District and the 6th District. The greatest travesty is, number one, we don't have enough officers that look like us, that respond to our needs. Number two, on the 22nd District side, when those officers respond, they treat our young men like it's a new form of slavery, and they talk down to them, and that's an issue. What we need to do with the city of Chicago is reapportion police officers based on either requests for service, which is nothing more than need. If we're calling the police, it should not take 3 hours to get a police officer to come to our house if we call for help. So there is an ordinance in committee that is supposed to reorganize the police officers on requests for service or population, but it's stuck in committee, and none of the other aldermen want to give up the police officers that they have.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
I believe the biggest issue affecting the 21st Ward is similar to the issues affecting the rest of the city. Like everybody said, there's education, there's crime, there's unemployment, so on and so forth. But the biggest part of that is inability or a lack of a structure to handle those problems. There's unemployment in every community. They have a structure in place to handle those problems. So we have misguided leadership, and that is our problem. Misguided leadership that thinks that Famous Dave's is economic development. Walmart is economic development. That is not economic development. That is a place for us to spend our money and watch it leave our community. Economic development is what our counterparts have been doing for decades. Ask the Asians, ask the Arabs, ask the Indians that own the gas industry and hire their own children, invest in themselves, self-sufficient, economically sufficient. Ask them, that is economic development. They have a system to handle all of those issues. We need to develop that system. And yes, it does come from recreating block clubs. I'm glad you read my website. We have a block club creation kit that we have developed, and we have been meeting with block clubs for months on end, helping them to improve their block clubs and create them where they don't exist. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. And for the sake of time, we have one last question from the panelists here. Then after that, each candidate will have closing remarks for one minute, 60 seconds each, okay? So let's go with the question.
Good afternoon. Tax increment financing has diverted
I can't hear you. Speak up a little bit.
Tax increment financing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Tax increment financing has diverted taxpayer funds for public services like schools, parks, and public safety to private sector economic development, both in the city center to a lesser extent to promote economic development in blighted neighborhoods. What do you think of tax increment financing, and how would you fund both economic development and essential public services?
Okay, we'll start with you, Jeff, and then we're going to go that way.
Tax increment finance has been misused and abused. There is very little to any oversight. The oversight that exists is appointed by the mayor. So the mayor determines where these funds go. That is dangerous. That is politically dangerous. It's dangerous to democracy because it's used as a political weapon. It's used as a gift for those that fall in line and a hammer for those that don't. That's first and foremost. So if we are going to maintain the tax increment financing system, we have to get it under the power of the people in the communities. That's first and foremost. Another thing is we have to deal with this idea of porting, taking funds from one area that is truly economically deprived and building in high-rises downtown that don't need them, building DePaul stadiums that don't need our funds, giving tax breaks to Walmart to come into our communities when they want our money anyway. So tax increment financing, if it's done right, we can keep it, but I'm not very sure that it can be done right without it being a political weapon and used against us. I would rather the communities get into their own collective investing, and we can do that if we are properly organized. Once again, thank you.
My man, all right. All right.
As it was stated, tax incremental financing was used to develop blighted communities. As you look at some areas like Inglewood that hadn't had a building permit pulled in Inglewood in almost 20 years until the redevelopment of Kennedy King College. We need tax increment financing in our community and not downtown. The other issue is, for those of you who don't know, there's $1.7 billion currently sitting in TIF money in the city of Chicago. And for those of you who went to public school like me, that's 170 millions. My proposal is to take a portion of that tax increment finance money and let's use that to pay down the mounting pension debt that we have right here in the city of Chicago.
I did a TIF seminar back in the summer at Woodson Library because when I realized all the money we were losing because we did not qualify for a TIF, I guess because it was never recommended for us. I think TIF is good if we utilize it. I think you need a new leader first before TIF can work. We know how the old leadership works. But if TIF is used correctly and it's used in blighted areas and not allowed to be ported over to the DePaul practice stadium or to the Navy Pier flyover, if TIF is used correctly, we, the residents of the 21st Ward, can benefit from TIF. But before we sign on to TIF, we need to get a new leader for TIF. Punch 55.
All right, thank you.
TIFs used correctly work. We are sitting in an example of that right now. Used correctly. But with it having no oversight and mayoral control, it's used as a slush fund, the mayor's slush fund. So it must be reformed in order for it to work effectively. We shouldn't have to give multi-billion-dollar corporations that money to come into our communities to make more money. So if it's reformed correctly and there's oversight, they work. But if not, the system as it stands doesn't. Thank you.
Anytime you have an alderman that votes 100% of the time with the mayor, and you can't seem to get TIF zones along our blighted commercial structures areas, like from Halsted all the way over to Racine, there's a problem. You know, so he stamps yes for everything the mayor wants, DePaul, Northwestern, whoever, anything downtown, any stadium, any the Marriott hotel, but when it comes to us, I'll take care of you later. You know, we got to get out of that, and it starts with leadership. We need to restructure that whole TIF situation so they do not have to be connected, and they are prohibited to being used in the downtown areas.
All right, thank you. The Alderman. Thank you.
We got any Monopoly fans out there? One of my father's favorite games is Monopoly. And there's a lot of misstatements as to what TIF is and what TIF isn't. And the reason why the money is downtown and in downtown TIF is not because of anything with respect to the city council. It is because the rules in Springfield need to be changed in order to do some of the things that they're talking about. The Monopoly board says that if you put a hotel on Boardwalk and you land on it, you're going to pay $3,500. If you put it on Baltic Avenue, it's only maybe $200. Yes, there are TIFs in the African American community, but the property values haven't gone that far up, and if they did, people would be complaining that our communities are gentrifying and you're pushing us out. Yes, this school was built with $42 million in TIF, and we need to reform that, and that is why, as the chairman of the Black Caucus, I've talked to the governor, I've talked to my counterparts, I've talked to leaders in Springfield to change the rules of TIF so that they don't have to be ported from TIF district to TIF district, but that they can truly be used in blighted areas and bring up our whole city.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, so for the sake of time, what we're going to do is each candidate's going to have 30 seconds to close it up, okay? We have no other choices. Wow. We got the 6th ward, they're here, and the candidates for mayor are here too, okay? 30 seconds. We'll start with Alderman Brookins on the far right of me. 30 seconds to wrap it up.
Thank you. We've been fighting for you, and it's not time to change horses now. Everything that I've talked about, we're doing in the 21st Ward, and we're moving forward. There's some people who are Johnny-come-latelys, first came to a town hall meeting when they woke up one day and they decided that they wanted to run for alderman, and now they're complaining that they don't know what's going on in the ward. If you need to get information, you have to seek information. You have to be involved in your community, not be a transplant from some other ward, etc. We're moving forward. It's not time to throw the white flag of surrender in.
All right, good. Come on, bro.
Yes, we have a seasoned veteran alderman to my right, chairman of the Black Caucus, and nobody's paying attention to him. It's time for new leadership. Marvin McNeil, I'm the first name on the ballot. I'm the real deal. If you want change and you want a good alderman, a good full-time alderman, vote for me, punch 51.
All right.
We have to stop playing politics. It's time to get the ward's work done. We know what needs to be done. We know the quality of life is suffering right around us. If we don't deal with our children, deal with the crime issues, and start creating the businesses that once existed in our ward, we'll be back here in 4 years. Well, some of us will be back here in 4 years. Some of us will get out. Some of us will choose to leave. We have too many vacant properties. We need more homeowners and more stakeholders.
Appreciate it. 30 seconds. All right.
I'm going to stand up for this because this is how serious it is. We need our alderman to let us know what's going to happen with his chief of staff, because none of this is going to matter if he gets elected and the mayor gets to pick your alderman. Do you want the mayor to pick, or do you want to stand up right now, punch 55, and you pick the best one yourself?
All right.
In the last 4 years, we have had to do with less. Less community service, given what happened with this snowstorm that just happened. Less schools, less educational opportunity for our children. Less police response times, less police. And I'm appealing to you that if you want more, punch 54. Elect Joseph Ziegler Jr., alderman of the 21st Ward.
All right, this brother, yes, sir.
In 30 seconds, all I can say is my telephone number is 773-559-2075. Let's talk about moving this community forward. My website is bakerforalderman.com. Now, let's talk about what it takes to be a successful alderman. It takes communication skills. It takes the ability to chair meetings. It takes building networks and block clubs. If you don't have those 3 abilities, then you cannot effectively take advantage of this seat. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Let's give everybody a hand up here, and let's give our panelists a hand. And then I just want to say we appreciate it. Let's get the panelists here.